Hari Om. The concept of dualities in our life. When I say dualities, life is all about the mix of sukham and dukkha. Sukha, dukkha, mix of both. And the call to endure them, because pleasant, unpleasant experiences will come, favorable, unfavorable will come, good, bad things will come. And the call to endure such dualities is a very big teaching, is a very big art that we all have to have. Today we will see that through the verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Our life is constantly changing and evolving. We have a lot of expectations in life, and we want or we look for favorable things in our life, right? So life is all about having a big set of expectations. And what happens is
sound is little less. Can you increase the volume?
Is it better now? Is it better? Can you hear me very well?
Your volume is binary.
Okay. So reality divided by expectations. If we consider this as a formula, reality divided by expectation is equal to our happiness. What happens when our expectations, or let us see, expectation versus reality, whatever, if the reality is not favoring, we will give a negative index to that. So what happens is basically our happiness will go for a toss. If you depend upon the expectations and if the reality is not favoring, what will happen is basically our life will go for a toss, because we look for happiness through whatever we expect and we feel that always it becomes favorable. Let's say take very simple examples, our real life examples. So if you are, say, stuck in a traffic on a very hot day, okay, so when I say hot day, and at the same time the AC of our car is also not working, you may say that these days such cars will not be there, but what happens if the AC is also not working and you are stuck in a traffic and it's very hot summer, hot and humid summer? What we can do at that point of time? Is there a point in becoming frustrated? Should we lose our peace? Should we lose our peace over just passing sensations? Or maybe in another context, losing a job. In such a situation, there is pain, there is fear, there is insecurity. There is also a sense of rejection coming into the mind of that person. And we cannot say that pain is not real, right? Practically, if you look, losing a job will have pain, agony, fear, insecurity, sense of rejection, all those serious issues will come, including bad emotions coming. Is that pain real? No, because that cannot last forever. This is just a temporary issue, right? What one should do in such a situation is basically come out of that and grow strong. Use that situation to grow stronger and find some new path rather than letting you go down. Or in a very other simpler, or if you take a simpler example, daily life, we get lot of praises, sometimes lot of criticisms also, right? Or maybe lot of praises, and if somebody tries to criticize, how will we take it? So here we need to understand these dvandam, these dualities. Will the weather stays same? For example, now it's summer. Will that summer be there forever? Will that season will stay forever like that? It cannot be. It will not be permanent. So one has to be very steady in life. Staying steady is very important. So today you are praised, the next day you are criticized, whether it's constructively or destructively criticized, or there are chances that we may get misunderstood. So what one has to do, one should react to such situations or not? We cannot, right? So one cannot react to those kind of situations. When somebody praises, you get really elevated, and if you are criticized for a reason, you going into the state of depression. You be steady. Let your actions be driven by values. Let your decisions, the inner decisions, be driven by logic as well as values, not based on someone's approval or not based on someone's view. Or in another way, see, let's take another practical example in our life: aging, or we getting ill, we getting sick. Can we defend? Can we fight against that? What we do usually when we get sick, we try to cure through medicines. We have to accept that we are undergoing a situation of illness, or similarly aging also. It is natural. And every experience in life, whether it is good, bad, favorable, unfavorable, heat, cold, praises versus criticisms, they all are changing experiences. And our life consistently or constantly changes on a daily basis. Whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, they all are inevitable in our life. And what we have to understand is those experiences are impermanent, cannot be permanent all the time. So the question here is, Bhagavan now gives the profound advice to Arjuna. Should you resist such kind of changes that are otherwise, in your life should happen? How you need to tackle? Will you resist? Is there a point in resisting? That's where Bhagavan says, you acknowledge and endure. You acknowledge. Acknowledgement is needed. Right now it is a seasonal change. Now it is not a favorable time. Something is unfavorably happening in my life due to some reasons. You acknowledge that. Yeah, time is not good for me. It's okay. But you acknowledge and endure with awareness. So this is the practice that we all have to create in our life. This is the one of the profound wisdom that Bhagavan gives to Arjuna. Verse number 14 of the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga. Now let us chant. Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shidoshna sukha dukkada Agamapayino nitya Tam titiksha bharata. Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkada Agama apayina anitya tan titikshvasva bharata. So the sense organs, if you see our sense organs, the indriyas, these sense organs are in touch or contact with their sensory world. And this from the sensory world, from the world, for these sense organs, different experiences in the form of dualities will come. Cold and heat, pleasure and pain. Agama payino anitya. So here, the nature of those experiences which are experienced by the senses from the sensory world, the nature of those are like coming and going, having the nature of coming and going, agama apayina, and anityam, and they are not constant. So endure those, hey Bharata, hey Arjuna. So these situations do not go your way all the time. These situations are temporary. They cannot go your way all the time. Arjuna, please understand this. And these things keep changing. Shidoshna sukha dukkada. Don't just think only that, give rise to cold, heat, pleasure, pain. In our life, if you see, we can say in an easy way that favorable versus unfavorable circumstances or events in our life. So these things keep changing. Some of them will be favorable, some of them or many of them may not be favorable. Some of them may be pleasant, others may be unpleasant. So here you need to understand the pleasant arrives when you get a pleasant situation. Please understand that pleasant situation must pass away for the unpleasant to come. Like seasons, how they change. If you have seen the 4 seasons very vividly, you can see that it is cyclic. Now we are also seeing the rainy season. Probably a lot of unpleasant situations are there. It's very uncomfortable sometimes for the people who commute. But will the rainy season last forever? So that is where here the word matra, the contact of sensory organs with, basically when we say the matra, to measure. The senses measure. Right? What is the meaning here? Senses measure meaning what? It is not that CNS use, these senses, our senses. They measure. For example, eyes measure what? Eyes measure the form. Eyes measure the size. Ears measure what? Ears measure the sound. Whether it is pleasant, unpleasant, noisy, silent, okayish, not okayish. Nose measures what? Smell, aroma of food. Tongue measures what? Tongue measures taste. Sweet, bitter, etc. And these, whatever the senses measure, ultimately the senses form some sort of perceptions. And these perceptions are not real. These perceptions are anitya. They are not permanent. They come and go. They constantly change. These experiences are in the flux because they are born out of contact with the sensory world. So these senses bring this kind of simulations, and these simulations will last for only few moments. So, hey Arjuna, hey Bharata, please understand that the nature equips all of us with what? Titiksha. Tan titikshasva Bharata. Titiksha is called as the brave endurance. Endure. So what happens is basically the innate nature of senses, our senses are like try to jump with the respective objects. That is where I said perception, forming perception. We look at something and form a kind of a perception, notions, without knowing the underlying reality. Correct? So the innate nature of senses are like they jump with the respective objects. They always try to jump with the respective objects. When I say jump, maybe those who are able to relate with the electrical branch, the surge happens, the electrical surge. Maybe we can say the spikes happen, the spurious kind of up or down. So our senses will always create spikes or spurious responses as they are interacting with the respective sense objects. So, hey Bharata, hey Arjuna, basically Bhagavan says you all have to, level or endure that sort of response that are created by our sense objects, our senses around the sense objects. So, because the senses try to jump with their respective objects, surge up or down, because elation versus depression. See, where this happens in our mind only. Mind will become very happy if you are praised. The next moment somebody is criticizing, mind will go to depression. Basically, mind is now operating with the respective situation. That is where surging up and surging down comes. So what is the advice here? You level it, you endure it. Because the contact of the sense organs with the sensory world will always give rise to dvandvam, these dualities, these opposites. In the form of cold and heat, in the form of pleasure and pain, in the form of favorable versus unfavorable situations in life. But just mind that the nature of these things are just coming and going. Agama payano nityatam titiksha Bharata. So, titiksha, you please endure them. You understand that the pleasant ones arriving must pass away for the unpleasant to come. Like how you see the season change, the cyclic form of seasons happening. If we have sorrows, and please understand this, if we are getting into the state of a sorrow, please understand that it is purely due to the situational contact. That is where the term matra, sense organs are matras, due to the contact with the objects. The situational contact that senses are having with the objects are creating the sorrows in you. And please be mindful again, it is not to avoid those contacts. It is not again running away. If I deal with that, I will encounter pain. Not running away again. It is not to avoid the contacts. Please understand this. So, what is that then? The situations in life, all our lives, the situations, there are chances of good things, bad things, pleasant experiences, unpleasant experiences. They all come and go. They are not constant. So, take every situation as it comes. Don't run away. Don't try to cure that. Take every situation as it comes in our life, in our stride, and deal it. How to deal? In a cool-headed way. Meaning, you create the psychological immunity in you to deal with ups and downs of our life. Acharya Swami in Viveka Chudamani defines the meaning of the term titiksha like this: Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apradikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyade. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. Or whenever the dukkham comes, every dukkham, sarva dukkham, how you do? Do the endurance. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apradikara purvakam. Not by having a rebel nature or try to suppress it or try to find a remedy for that. And chinta vilaparahitam. Don't be over bothered about those situations, because you need to have knowledge to overcome. We will come to that. So have this brave endurance. So that is called as sa titiksha nigadyade. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apradikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyade. So don't seek a remedy to avoid, because you don't need to avoid it. It will come and go. Agama paino anitya, not nityam, anityam. So hey Kaunteya, hey Arjuna, you understand that they will arrive and they will depart, cannot stay. These experiences, whatever is it, favorable, unfavorable, etc., will arrive and depart. Agama paino. So you just do the titikshasva bharata. You build the capability to endure it, the power of endurance. That is what this verse is talking about. So the power of endurance will come when we have the self-knowledge. Who am I? What is my true nature? What is really making the senses to act? Those senses will, always try to get the sensory data from the world that they work with. The mind will derive something based on the past influence, based on the notions, or adding some sort of a past experience, whatever is it. And decide that I am undergoing pain and this is a very bad situation. But please be mindful that the one who is witnessing the mind, you are able to realize that, yeah, this is an unpleasant experience. I was in a good state before. The one who is witnessing this mind, the one who is witnessing the collection of these objects and the derivation of the information that is made, that one, that self is witnessing the changes that are happening, and that self is not undergoing any changes. So when we have elation versus depression, on the stop and again going down in a depressed way, so don't allow you to go in such situations. Hey Bharata, hey Arjuna, you bravely endure it. What to endure? For us, you may ask a question. For Arjuna, he is in the war field. As a person, as a normal human being, what should I, derive out of this verse? What is the knowledge that I have to gain? This question can come. So what to endure? We have to endure our emotional highs and lows, emotional ups and downs. We have to cure it, we have to endure it, we have to balance it. And these situations, for example, pain, pleasure, cold, heat, the physical discomfort will also happen. Maybe at a plane of body or at the plane of senses, at the plane of mind. So you endure the emotional ups and downs, you endure your physical discomfort. You don't criticize those experiences which are coming. Don't criticize, and again, don't weigh the gain and loss, and don't allow you to go down in your doubts, in the case where the experience is unpleasant. So you need to endure what? You need to endure your emotional ups and downs. You need to endure your physical discomfort. You need to be non-criticizing. You should not weigh the gain and loss and all those things. And why we should endure in life, why we should have this in life, is there any reason? Because this is very illogical. They will come and go. These situations are temporary, because they cannot last for long. So the question is basically why to endure? Because if you react emotionally to these ups and downs, you yourself is putting you to a state of delusion. And this state of delusion came from where? The poor judgment. Because it is due to the poor judgment you are concluding. And that poor judgment is allowing us to suffer in life. So, what to endure? Why to endure? So, it is very important for all of us. So, stay grounded. Stay grounded. Be practical. Don't cling or attach to all those things. Observe them. Don't try to identify and attach. Practice balance, because these all are temporary in life. Sidoshna sukha dukkada agama paino nityattam titiksha. Observe them, don't identify and attach. Practice the balance in life. How? Through the endurance, through the titiksha. Hey Arjuna, hey Bharata, have this quality. You already have it. Please understand this and use it wisely. This is the first wisdom. Brave endurance that we all should have in life. Verse number 15. Yam hi navyadayantete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sugham dhiram somrudatvaya kalpate. Yam hi navyadayantete purusham purusharshabha sama dukkha sukham dhiram saha amrudatvaya kalpate. Arjuna is called here as a person who is prominent. So there can be two interpretations here. Let us go with this interpretation. Prominent among men, prominent among others. Hey Arjuna, the person whom these meaning what? Dukkham sukham. The person whom these sukha dukkham do not affect. Who is in same pleasure and pain, and who is discriminative. Who is discriminative is indeed fit for gaining the liberation, fit for gaining the freedom. So who is, because this sensory contacts and the experiences coming from the sensory world, that is where the sukha dukkha. So the one who is not affected with the sukha dukkha or pleasure and pain, and the one who is having discriminative intelligence is indeed fit for gaining the liberation or freedom. Amrudatvaya kalpade. That person who is having discriminative capability, dhiram, is capable to gain this freedom, is capable to gain the liberation, and that person is indeed not affected by the sukha dukkham. Hey Arjuna, so you also become a dhiran who is discriminative and who balances this dvandam in life. Basically, this is an extension of the previous verse, endurance, titiksha. Understand that it is not just a virtue, right? It is not just a virtue. It is the real capability that one should have in life. It is the stepping stone for growth. And don't think that it is basically, you just, that's where in the Vivek Chudamani also, apratigara purvakam sahanam sarva dukkhanam. It is not something like emotional coldness. It is something that is mastery over the reactions. Because the tendency is we will react. So what one should do is basically have a mastery over the reactions. Basically, it is called as responding appropriately to the situations. Because the storm will pass. Don't let it shake your roots. Here, dhiran, a discriminative person. In another way, we can call it as pandita. Verse number 11 says, pandita. Right? You have seen this. A discriminative person is a jnani, discriminative person is a pandita, discriminative person is a dhiran. So when we say discriminative, what is the discrimination needed? The Dhiran, the wise, knows himself or herself as the Atma. And that Atma cannot be affected by any situations, because that truth is witnessing the changes happening in our mind. You know that, right? When the mind is disturbed, you are aware of that. So that awareness, that truth, that Atma cannot be affected by any situations. And that Dhiran knows the true reality as the Atma. Such a person is aware of the life situations because they come and go. Because they are having the changing nature. They are anityam. Tan titiksha bharata. But I am unchanging self. I am nityam. I am witnessing this. I am able to see the changes happening. I am the one who is not getting affected. And I am that self. I am that truth. So Dhiran here, the person who is having this Viveka Buddhi, this discriminative intelligence. When we say again discriminative intelligence, the one who has got the knowledge of Nityam and Anityam. What is permanent in life, what is not permanent in life. Bhagavan in Gita says again, Anityam Asugam Logam. Logam is all about Anitya Vastu. They all are they all are not permanent, impermanent. So, does that mean we have to run away? No. We have to have the discriminative capability to accept situations happily and don't allow ourselves to get swayed like a pendulum when a pleasant experience happens versus unpleasant experience happens, right? Accept situations happily and don't allow ourselves to get swayed due to the pleasant or unpleasant situation. The one who has got that capability is fit for evolution. Such a person will reach the Amrutatvam. Right? Amrutatvam here is basically the deathless nature of one's own inner self. So that self is eternal. There is no question of birth, death. So the knowledge about the deathless nature of one's own inner self dawns in the heart of a jnani, in the heart of a dhiran, in the heart of a mature person. So what is the result? Amrutatvam, immortality is the result. Say, dhiran is here called as Amrutattvaya Kalpade, or we can say Amaran. A jnani, a panditan, a dhiran is the one who is not affected by the forces of the nature. Because that person has mastered the art of what? Art of enduring things. The art of endurance. And what is the art of endurance? To remain centered in the heart. To remain centered in the self. So that self-centricity, instead of swaying with the emotional experiences that come in life. So that self-centricity is needed. Otherwise, what will happen is basically our entire life will be wasted to search for ways and means to remove the pain and attain pleasure. Our entire life will always be chasing to fix. So We want to, always want a kind of a pleasure or a pleasurable instances. So to keep that, our pressure will go up. Right? To keep the pleasurable experience, what happens is basically our blood pressure will go up. So, in the places that we live, right, these days we equip security guards, right? We call it gated community, or we say, societal life, society, where there are guards to take care of us, right? Entry restricted, no outsiders are allowed, only through approval mechanism. Security guards will take care of us. Take care of what? Take care of our possessions, right? So that we feel that we are secured because these guards are equipped. So this is a kind of a pleasure that we keep in mind. And if the security guard sleeps at night and the thief enters and take our possessions, or you get a feeling that they are sleeping, they are not alert, so the same pleasure will become a pressure. You will be always doubtful whether we get that sort of a security through these people, because they often fall asleep. So the pleasure becomes a pressure. We cannot sleep. What happens is basically the security guard will peacefully sleep and you cannot sleep. Jokes apart, the wise, the dhiran, has got the inner courage. Not, what is that? Courage to not identify with the disturbing elements from outside. Courage to not identify with the disturbing things from outside. Otherwise also these elements won't disturb, right? If you practically think. Let's take a very practical example. Daily morning we have the habit of drinking tea. And now you are on a business travel and you have gone somewhere. You assume that you are in some part of the world where they don't serve you the tea that you used to drink. Who is disturbing? So you are getting disturbed because you are not getting the tea and you are getting headache and you are feeling unpleasant. Why am I not getting this? How can I get it? Why this place is not having that sort of tea where I have daily? So my question is basically, is tea disturbing you? The real tea, is that disturbing you? Who is disturbing? Is the tea disturbing or our mind getting disturbed with the thoughts of the tea? With the thoughts of the limitations that you are now undergoing? Is the mind hardwired here, or the tea is a problem? The outside tea is a problem or not? Is that tea saying that, yeah, drink me, drink me? Is it an inner disturbance or an outer disturbance? What is that? It is an inner disturbance, right? It is a vyadha that we ourselves created. And that vyadha is leading to what? Samsaram, the frustration. Shouting at the people and saying that, yeah, this place is bad and I am totally hopeless, sick of not having a tea, and my day is getting disturbed. So we are getting disturbed. Our mind is getting disturbed. Our mind is hardwired. Without drinking tea, I will not be perfect. It is an inner disturbance. It is a Veda that is created. And that Veda is leading to further consequences. That is called as samsara. So, Dhiran has this discriminative intelligence, and the Dhiran knows that experience of our inner reality is only the Satyam. Rest of the things are in flux. The rest of the things around us are changing. Rest of the things around us are mithya, including our own body, mind, intellect, senses, world that we see around. So when this kind of inner disturbance happens, think, who am I? What is my true reality? My true reality is the unchanging Satyam. That is not changing, that is not having any influence of the body, mind, intellect, senses. Going to next verse. Again, a very, very profound verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It's basically a seed, we can say. It is a seed that we all should have. This should be the mantra for our meditation. Verse number 16. Nasado vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sada ubhayorabhidrishtonta tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. Nasado vidyate bhavo na asada vidyate bhava na abhava vidyate sadah ubhayo abhidrishta anda tu anayo tattvadarshibhi na asada vidyate bhava. So very, very profound. This is basically doing an analysis of what is existence, what is non-existence. So the verse says that for the unreal meaning mithya, right? So if you see the decomposition of this verse, bhava meaning being, na vidyade meaning is not there, abhava meaning non-being or absence, sadha means for the real, na vidyade is not there, asadha means for the unreal, that is mithya. And tattvadarshibhi, by the knowers. Okay, and anta is ultimate truth. Abhidrishta also is seen, and anayo ubhayo, of these two, that is basically real and unreal. So for the unreal, for the mithya, there is never any being. For the real, there is never any non-being. The ultimate truth of both, that is real and unreal, is seen or is known by the one who is called as a tattvadarshi. Meaning, asat doesn't have being. Asat doesn't have any existence. And for sat meaning what? Existence. There is always, being. There is no question of no existence. Here, what is Sat, Asat? Sat is all about existence, it is all about consciousness. And it is eternal existence. And it will remain forever. And it is the common element behind every object and situations. So, a Tattvadarshi will never chase the material objects. Why? Because that material objects are finite. They are having finite existence. And if you chase those finite objects, those material objects, our happiness cannot exist forever because they do have a finite existence. Asat is mithya, it is time bound. It keeps on changing. So all the objects that you see, they don't have an independent existence. Anatma, they are called as anatma. All those objects, including body, mind, intellect, senses, are anatma and they don't have an independent existence. What happens after death? The same body is there. If the body is intelligent enough, after death also it should start walking, running, acting. Sat is missing. Asat itself, Asat alone cannot make any sense. Maybe in Sanskrit or in Tamil also you can see Sattu Poyach. So the consciousness is not there. The anatma is alone. The body is anatma. So after death, body should have behaved in the same fashion. So the intelligence behind the body is not there. So the anatma cannot have an independent existence. Similarly, the worldly objects, don't be overly attached to the things because they change, including our own mood, our own societal status, our own body, the conditions of the body, our wealth, our position, our money. Don't be overly attached to those things. Use them. Transact them. Where the focus should be? The focus should be on the eternal essence, our own self, the core, the Satyam. Satyam eva jayade, Satyam param dhimahi. So when we undergo pains in our life, when we face loss in life, remember that what is truly you? Can you be lost? Because you yourself is able to witness those kind of changes happening. So you are not the one who is affected. The mind is the one, right? Mind is undergoing those pains. You, the true reality, cannot be lost. Failure in life cannot destroy your worth because our core self is untouched. And when we see death around us also, the body is gone. That is reality. No doubt. But the real self is not dying. Existence cannot die. The manifested body is going away because the body came and body will go. Body will come and body will go. Right? They all are agama paino anityattant titiksha bharata. The real self will not go, the real self will always be there. Understand this truth. So, this will help one to transform grief into peace. The asat, the non existent, has no beingness, whereas the sat, which will never cease to be, and you are that sat. And the sorrows and sufferings are always associated with the asat, body, mind, intellect, world. Sorrows are always associated with the prakriti. So one should come out of the grip of the prakriti. One should be free from the body, mind, intellect, sense, world. Maybe it seems slightly unrealistic, but that is where our Shastram assures us that such a freedom exists in you. And our own intuition always whisper that you are the unchanging truth. So what is real, what is unreal, this knowledge only will help us. What is real, what is unreal, this only will help us in our life. And I will always exist. And others will always, or others will not have a substantial existence, including my own body, because the body came from Prakriti and it has to go back. But what is true? My own existence is true. And I am, that amness is the pure experience that we have. Including our body, including our thoughts, including our emotions. Everything come and go. They all appear in that Satta. They all appear in what? That amness, that isness, which is always existing, which alone is always existing. Including our mind is an asat. There is no real existence. And that I am is the pure experience. And it is not conditional. That isness or amness, is that conditional? Do you need a mirror to see that you exist? Do you need a mirror? Do you need to go to a mirror to see? That isness is non-dual consciousness. And it is experienced by all. And it alone is the underlying reality. It alone is the underlying truth. It alone is the unchanging experience of all of us in every state. If you see the Avasthatrayam, Jagrat, Swapnam, Sushupti. In Sushupti, there is no object identification, including mind is absent there. What remains there in Sushupti? Only the isness. That beingness only remains. And that beingness is the only thing that is there irrespective of all the three avasthas. This is the vision of reality. This is the Tattva Darshana. So who am I? Am I the body, mind? I am not the Asat. I am the Sat. That Sat never ceased to exist. And that Sat never ceased to be experienced also. See, the body disappears from awareness in the dream. The body disappears from the awareness in the deep sleep. Similarly, the body disappears from the awareness in death also. Or if you see mind in the deep sleep, mind don't exist, mind ceases to exist. Whereas beingness always exists. The one will realize the Sat. Indeed, what is Sat? Sat is basically the pure intelligence, the non-dual existence. We call as Atman, Brahman. In different names we call. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita you can see Vadanti tat tattvavidha yat tattvam jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. You call it in different names. Egam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. Vedam says that. So, na asado vidyade bhavo na abhavo vidyade sada ubhayorapi drishtonda tanayoho tattvadarshini. Na asada vidyade bhava. The unreal has no real existence. The unreal world, including body, mind, intellect, senses, has no capability to overpower our true reality, the true self. We may see that, or we may feel that those unreal things, including world, body, mind, intellect, sense, all those things are powerful than the self, but that is a wrong notion. The real alone only wins, never the unreal. That is where truth alone triumphs. Satyam param dhimahi, satyameva jayate. And who are you? You are that Satyam. You are the Satta. You are not the Mithya. There is no question of existence because you always exist. And you are not the body, mind, intellect, sense, world. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.